Hello and welcome to the NewsX Sunday Guardian Roundtable. Today we're joined by a very special guest. I'm joined by Sushmita Dev, the Rajya Sabha MP from the Trinamool Congress. And more importantly, today we're having this conversation with her because she was one of the first to be there on the ground at Lakhimpur Kheri after the four farmers were brutally killed by a cavalcade of a BJP minister. And it is also alleged that his son was driving the Mahindra Thar that mowed down these farmers. Well, the Supreme Court has looked into the matter. We are still waiting to see what will happen. But up till now, nobody from the government has reacted on this from the BJP, either the state or the central. And that itself is a matter of concern. But first, let's talk to Sushmita, who was there on the ground and one of the first to reach there. Sushmita, you went there, you met the families. I mean, an incident like this, and yet nothing has happened. It's been, I think, over 4 days now nearly. There's been really no action. We're seeing the central minister going about his duty, the son who's an accused. I don't know whether he's even been questioned. What do you say to something like this?
I think, to put it bluntly, it's appalling because generally a case suffers when there is no evidence, when there are no witnesses. And here is a case of murder in cold blood, where there are several videos, there are several witnesses, an FIR has been filed, people have been named, and yet no one has been arrested. And I think I'm very grateful to the Supreme Court for taking suo motu notice in this case, like they did in the Unnao case. And it's travesty of justice. And to believe that by compensating someone with 45 lakhs or even 45 crores can do justice is a fallacy. Not that I'm against the compensation that's been given, but it is the farmers' families who feel that compensation is not tantamount to justice. They want arrests.
Exactly. In fact, a lot of people are now asking that, why is there's been not a single word from the Prime Minister. He was there in Lucknow. He didn't go to Lakhimpur Kheri, fine. But at least there's been nobody, no government, nobody from the BJP, forget the government, nobody from the BJP, central or state government has said anything to condemn this incident at all.
You see, Prime Minister was in Lucknow the next day. And that's the reason the state government basically sent out information that things had been settled, that there was a truce, whereas that was not correct. And the farmers could not put their version out because there's no internet there, there's nothing happening there. And Prime Minister comes, does a program with the Urban Development Minister, who was also there, and leaves it around 2:30. And that's when the story starts coming out, because by then we've reached there. Jayant Chaudhary had reached there, and they said there's absolutely no question of any settlement. Now, repeatedly, we are being asked that what about the 4 or 5 BJP workers who are apparently, also succumbed to that, fight that ensued there as a part of that accident. Now, the question is, people who are asking us that, I would like to ask the Prime Minister and the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh that if there were BJP workers who were also brutally killed there, all the more reason for the Prime Minister to speak up or for the Chief Minister to visit that area. But they have actually kept quiet on about their own workers' deaths only to hush it up. It's extremely unfortunate. Prime Minister who's so vocal on Twitter and so vocal otherwise, although all his addresses are unilateral and monologues, but still not a single word, and I think it's disgraceful.
These are two very important things. I'll take the first one. The farmers themselves have told you that they reject any offer of a compromise. Like, for instance, Siddharth Nath Singh gave that famous press statement saying कि सब खुश हैं. Definitely, सब sides खुश नहीं हैं. I mean, and that's what they told you also.
Definitely, they were absolutely categorical that they had no faith in the postmortem reports of the Lakhimpur hospital. Postmortems were done late at night. It's never done in that way, especially in such a controversial case. There should have been a panel of doctors who should have done the postmortem, and not just some single doctor in a village. So they are asking for the postmortem to be done in Punjab and Delhi, because there are reports of bullets being fired, but the postmortem reports are not showing any firing. So now what's going to come out of the postmortem reports as they've been done in Uttar Pradesh, I cannot say, but the family of the deceased was crystal clear that guns were being fired and nothing in the postmortem was showing, which I think is also controversial. And hopefully the Supreme Court will now look into it.
But you see a larger pattern over here, whether it was a Hathras case, again, there was an attempt not to raise it. In fact, the media and the politicians were not even allowed to go and visit the family. They were trying to do a cremation very hurriedly. It only came up to light when it was raised on the social media, really, by various people and the politicians also. Ditto, the same thing is happening here. It's because you all have actually managed to go there and raise the issue in the early hours. That's the really important point of contact, that you managed to break through the barricade and go there. That, this issue has come to some light, and we are hoping the central government, after the court at least, will do something and at least say something.
Definitely. See, in the Unnao case, you saw what happened while the victim was on her way to court. She was in an accident. Hathras, in the middle of the night, they cremated, the victim. And now there is this case of farmers being mowed down. A very important question is, what were they doing on that road in 3 vehicles? Now you put yourself in that position, Priya. If you know there's a dharna pradarshan happening, if you notice there's some sort of a blockade happening on some highway, would you go on that route? You wouldn't. So what was the Home Minister's son doing there in the first place is questionable. So the question is, to my mind, it seems premeditated. And to my mind, I think that the only reason every bit of the investigation is being delayed is because he happens to be the son of the Home Minister. And there can be no second reason. And that's the only conclusion that comes to my mind.
That is very interesting, because that, the same day too, there was another story break that happened. The son of a film star. Now, I don't want to, pit one against the other, but it was very clear that one case was given more push by the media also. I hold, some of us responsible also. And this other case, where there is the son of a minister, there's no arrest at all. So there is some travesty or some, the justice is not equal in both the cases.
I can give you several examples. I know of people in my constituency who write against the Prime Minister on the Facebook and they are arrested within hours. And this is murder, what happened in Lakhimpur. I mean, you have journalists being put behind bars because they're reporting something against the government. So the question is that it is a crystal clear case of bias. It's a crystal clear case of protecting the powerful. And it's a shame that the Minister of State for Home still continues in his position while this controversy looms large. And let's not forget, even in the Unnao case, when the MP, the MLA was accused of raping, neither Amit Shah nor Prime Minister Modi said a word. They did not take any action till much later when he was charge sheeted. So, I mean, for me, as far as I'm concerned, this is pattern for the Bharatiya Janata Party and for the state of Uttar Pradesh. They can keep plastering Adityanath's face on the front page of a newspaper saying development. But the fact is, all these horrific incidents are happening in Uttar Pradesh. And let's not forget, the Prime Minister himself is a member of parliament from there.
Can I ask you a political question, Sushmita? You're now with the Trinamool Congress, and Trinamool really is influence areas of West Bengal. You're an MP from the Northeast. What is the MP from the Northeast from Trinamool doing in Uttar Pradesh? What brought you there? I mean, when you went there, I know you spoke of Mamta Banerjee and Singur and what she did for the farmers, but is there also a larger political picture at play here that maybe we are missing?
You see, what most people I think need to appreciate is that All India Trinamool Congress is a national party, if you were to check our status on the Election Commission website. So, and if you look at their numbers in the Lok Sabha, it's a substantial number. If you look at all the figures of the opposition parties. So they are actually a very strong and prominent voice on the floor of the House. And as you know that in the Parliament, all national issues come up, are debated, are protested, or however you want to look at it. So All India Trinamool Congress, when it comes to looking at the larger picture, national picture, cannot and will not take a back seat, because the fact is that we are a large part of the opposition that sits in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. And these are issues that will come up in Parliament. And let us also not forget that Mamata Banerjee was instrumental in saving the farmers in the Singur case. And she, I think, is one of the very few leaders who went on a fast for 26 days. Every day she was fasting. So it's something that's close to her heart. And she was crystal clear that she had no intentions of politicizing it. I have a video where I told the family that if the farmers want her to join the agitation, she will, but she will not come to politicize this issue. And we did carry that message to the family in Uttar Pradesh. So I hope that explains why what you call a party that is right now has a base in West Bengal was doing in Uttar Pradesh, because our base inside the Lok Sabha is, I think, can compete with the largest opposition party.
Speaking of which, the fact that you managed to reach Lakhimpur Kheri before your colleagues, your former colleagues from the Congress, Priyanka tried. She was, in fact, she had the first mover advantage, credit to her, but she was stopped. So how did you manage it? UP is not, is it a terrain that you're familiar with, or, or is it your experience of being Zameen se juda hua neta? I've always seen you on the ground as Mahila Congress, and it was good to see the old Sushmita firebrand back in action again. But how did you manage to reach the site before anybody else?
You see, I have an advantage that I can choose not to let people come to the airport to receive me. I can choose to drop my security. I can choose not to go, not to go in a convoy. These are the advantages which I believe somebody who's a special protectee doesn't have. And secondly, what we deliberately did, because I have had many past experiences of Section 144 in UP when I was in the Congress. I've been there many, many times. And so we sort of decided that 3 members of parliament would drive from Delhi to Lucknow, and 2 members of parliament, me and Kakoli Ghosh, would come by flight from Calcutta to Lucknow. And so when we landed at the airport, we did take Kakoli's security, but he came without a weapon. So he doesn't have to report. So he came as a regular passenger. So and we left the airport very discreetly. And when we checked into the hotels, we did not flash our Sabha and Rajya Sabha identity cards, and made sure that we walked in as regular people. And frankly, the day we arrived, we didn't get anywhere. We couldn't find anybody. The barricading was too heavy. We couldn't get across beyond Lakhimpur. So we came back and left early in the morning. And I remember being stopped in one barricade, and they asked us, "Kahan se aaye?" So we said, "Delhi se aaye." "Kahan ja rahe hain?" So we said we could see the signboard of some wildlife sanctuary called Dudhwa or something. And we said, "We are going to this wildlife sanctuary." So they were like, "Kahan thehrenge aap?" So, frankly, we did not know the names of any hotels. So we said, हम वहां जाकर शायद reserve forest का कोई guest house है वहां कोशिश करेंगे, because we know that every forest has a reserve forest house. So it wasn't easy, and it was intimidating. Even after I tweeted and we came back at the Lucknow airport, we did not produce our identity cards as members of parliament. I showed my driving license and we walked through, because I can tell you from my past experience, Uttar Pradesh police is capable of doing anything. If they can arrest Priyanka Gandhi ji without an arrest warrant, not once, but twice, it happened in Sonbhadra. So who's Sushmita Dev? They won't even bother putting me in a guest house. They'll probably take me to like custody in some jail or lockup. So it wasn't easy, but I'm happy I could make it there and speak to the farmer's family face to face.
Sushmita, what's happened in Lakhimpur Kheri, of course, we've seen the opposition not really coming together. Everybody had the same outreach, but it wasn't a united move. What do you see happening towards, how is it going to be taking on the BJP? Is the TMC and the Congress, can you work together, or will there be some kind of platform where maybe a Sharad Pawar or a Mamata Banerjee and, other leaders can take charge? Because the Rahul versus Modi battle is, it's a kind of a walkover for the BJP, really.
See, Priya, to my mind, uh, uh, there is a situation, political mood that is building up in the nation. The number of people who are dissatisfied with the BJP government is growing, and you've seen the Moody survey where Prime Minister Modi's popularity is dropped. So the mood of the nation is to have a strong competitor to Narendra Modi ji and his party. The mood of the nation is to look for a credible, strong leader who can take on Narendra Modi and Shah. So, in these circumstances, I think the opposition has a duty to the nation to come together. Now, why do they need to come together? For instance, in West Bengal, Trinamool Congress is the most significant party. Uh, if you go to the south, for instance, in Andhra, it is Jagan Reddy who's the most significant party. If you go to Maharashtra, there's Shiv Sena, NCP, and the Congress. So the thing is, uh, there are certain areas in which there is no overlap, and there's a vacuum at the same time. So there is no reason why a Mamata Banerjee or any other party can't step in there to fight the BJP. Now, opposition unity means what? Opposition unity means that on issues that impact the nation, you have to stand together. And I think the All India Trinamool Congress has proved it time and time again on the floor of the House also, that whenever there's been an issue that impacts the nation and its people, they stand next to all the other opposition parties. So also, I must add that it is a matter of fact that after the BJP, it is the Congress which has the largest vote share in India, in this country. So one must appreciate that. And for instance, in a state like, let's say, Punjab, it is Akali Dal versus Congress. There's nothing for All India Trinamool Congress to do as of now. So their BJP and Congress are in a direct fight in, I think, anything between 150 to 190 seats.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's
what I
where,
was told.
yeah, so that's what Congress has to fight it out there. I mean, no one can step in there at this stage and say, now we're going to fight Narendra Modi and BJP in those states.
Then
So
what is the
I think,
Trinamool doing in Goa? You stepped in on to Congress's turf. They're not very happy, I
well,
tell you that.
well, to the best of my information, Trinamool Congress feels that they are in a better position to fight there than any other party. And as you know, IPAC is working with the Trinamool Congress there. So I'm sure they've done their homework before going there. And we are quite confident that it will pan out well.
Trinamool Congress is TMC the new Congress? Because there is a feeling that all the people who are unhappy with the Congress, G23 leaders or a Sachin Pilot or a Bhupinder Hooda, will soon be joining the Trinamool Congress rather than staying on with this the party as it is right now. Is that the plan? We saw it in Goa. You took a Congress chief minister. You've taken Congress leaders. You're poaching them.
You see, two things. I can't speak for Mr. Hooda or Sachinji or anybody. I shouldn't either try to speak for them. But the question you're asking is Trinamool Congress going to be the new Congress? Well, I have repeatedly said and fallen back on the fact that there is no ideological difference between the Congress and Trinamool Congress. And my leader, Mamata Banerjee, is herself led the Congress in 97-98 and started All India Trinamool Congress. And what is a feather in her cap or her strength is the fact that she's defeated the BJP twice in West Bengal. And the last assembly election, everybody was saying BJP is going to win and all of that, but she had a very decisive victory there. And I cannot deny that the entire country was watching the West Bengal election. Like Mamata shouldn't lose, people were saying. And I feel her stature and the expectation of the people from her has gone up after the last assembly election of West Bengal. And I believe that she will play a significant role in the future, just like Sharad Pawarji will, or the other opposition leaders will. And let me point something out. The opposition meeting that happened on 20th of August, you may recall, in which Congress president was there and AITC chairperson was also there. Mamta Didi actually said we can't just talk to DMK and and NCP and the left. We should be looking at alliance partners of the NDA also. So we should talk to Jagan Reddy, we should talk to BJD, we should talk to parties like that. So she's looking at a broader opposition unity, not just anti-BJP opposition unity. And I think that is significant, which a lot of people didn't pick up on that, what she said. So she feels that will be a better plan and will be better equipped to fight the BJP till there is a proper and another national alternative to the Congress, which cannot happen overnight. But I think All India Trinamool Congress is definitely going to go and fight where they feel there's a vacuum.
Alternative to the Congress is something that I'm hearing very much these days in a lot of circles within the Congress and outside it also. There is also another theory that let's have a platform of leaders with Mamta, Sharad Pawar and a Jagan or someone, as you said, a non-BJP person also. And maybe take charge. One of them can become the UPA chairperson, because Sonia Gandhi is still the UPA chairperson. At least first take control of the UPA before you take control of the entire opposition. Would Mamta Banerjee be keen on that? Is that something she's working on?
See, Priya, things like this take a whole lot of work to build a consensus. And that consensus can't be built overnight. That's one aspect. And the second aspect is sometimes politics is so dynamic and emerging and nuanced that organically, a leader comes up. I mean, for instance, Chandrasekhar ji was the Prime Minister. For instance, Devegowda ji was the Prime Minister. So it's very dynamic what happens in politics, and it happens organically, but there has to be a consensus. Now, to the credit of Srimati Sonia Gandhi ji, she has in the past, sacrificed and said, I don't want to be the Prime Minister. I mean, we've seen that happen, and Dr. Manmohan Singh ji happened. So, so one doesn't know what's going to happen. So let us see. And I think the right thing to do at this stage is not keep visiting this issue about who's going to be the leader, because that derails us from the larger purpose, which is to save the country from the BJP. I mean, that's what we think we are doing. And that's the larger picture which we have to keep focused on.
To get the same message, if not the same leader, at least you all can unite on the same message first. And
Absolutely.
Before I let you go, one last question is, Kapil Sibal recently made a comment. He says that, the Gandhis have been very suspicious of those who've been, they're close to them, have left the party. And hum jo reh gaye hain, they are suspicious of us. So that was clearly a dig at you, at Jyotiraditya, at Jitin Prasad. How do you respond to that?
See, I think that my situation can't really be exactly compared to Jitin Prasad ji and Scindia ji. Going from the Congress to the BJP and going from the Congress to the Trinamool Congress has some difference, I feel, number one. And number two, who's close to the leader and who's in the cold vis-a-vis the leader is a matter of perspective, and it's very dynamic also. It changes every 3 months or 6 months. So, and what Kapil Sibal said about the fact that they are still there, I mean, yes, they are still there. I can't deny it. And I hope that they sort out this, impasse that is, quite obvious to everybody between the so-called G23 and the High Command of the Congress. And I will say one thing. That that the G23 must remember that there are two types of leaders in a party. One set of leaders have a mass base, and one sort of leaders don't have mass base but have the intellect and are rich. So I think there has to be a slight differentiation there also, So what I will request the G23 in their wisdom, they're very senior, Ghulam Nabi Azad ji, Kapil Sibal ji, Prithviraj Chavan, etc., that I hope they can sort it out, because the country needs the second largest party of the nation to come through for the people, without which, the nation will continue to suffer.
That note, Sushmita Dev, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and also a pleasure to note that while your party may have changed, your politics is still the same. You're still there, the feisty Sushmita that we know on the ground, and talking to us. So thank you.
Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.